Coming down onto your back, just lower yourself down. And then have your ball ready here. And then push into the ground with your feet. Squeeze your glutes a little bit. Just lift your pelvis off so you can get the ball underneath your pelvis. And then we're just dropping that spine down into that well we've created underneath. Now pulling in the abdominals here, just to make sure you're engaged. So really pulling up here, scooping the tummy in and pulling that belly button through to the spine behind. Bring your knees over your chest and take hold of your knees. Inhale, as you breathe in, you're bending your knees towards your chin. As you exhale, just straightening your knees to the ceiling. Inhale, bend your elbows, bring your knees to your chin. Exhale and extend. And again, keep going. Inhaling as they come in, exhaling as they go away. On the next one, we're going to take the knees apart and draw circles round and back up to the top. Bending the elbows and straightening the elbows. Just noticing how stable you are on the ball. And using those abdominals to try and keep the pelvis nice and quiet, and the torso nice and stable. And then going in the other direction. Just making sure both knees working together as well. They're working in harmony. You haven't got one leg flying off slightly earlier than the other, because even a split second will just make you wobble. From here we're going into a shearing action. So one leg away from you and one leg towards you. The lower legs are just floppy and relaxed. The feet are floppy. It's just the elbows bending and straightening. And then this is the one here that just messes with everyone's brain. So I'm going to just turn myself around here so that I have my head towards you. Place the ball back underneath, and then you can see, work with me, what I'm doing. So with Pilates, coordination is one of the principles, and this definitely will test your coordination. So we started with one leg away and one leg in. We're going to inhale here, exhale as we take them both in a circle. So they're going past each other, and then it feels like they're going in opposite directions with those circles. They're not actually. They're both going anti-clockwise, like helicopter blades. And then we're going to change directions again. And we're going to see if we can speed that up and stay stable on the ball. Lovely. Keep going as I turn myself back onto my side so you can see me properly. Let's get the ball back underneath. Fabulous. And then just bring one leg down and then the other. Re-engage your tummy, so really pulling in nice and flat, belly button to your spine. You're going to bring one leg into tabletop and then the other. If this at all niggles your lower back, or you find that you are starting to arch slightly, tipping over the edge of that ball, you just cannot maintain that core stability yet, bring the knee slightly closer to your chin, and then as you get stronger, you can work towards your tabletop position, your 90-degree angle here. Inhale here, exhale as you lower one toe down to the floor and back in. Exhale, lower and up. So we're exhaling as we lower the leg to the ground, inhaling as we bring it back. Keep going. And you just work till you really feel that in your abdominals engaging. Sinking the ribs down into the mat. Adding on here a single leg stretch, so extending one leg out and in, and the other leg out and in. And how low you go depends on how strong you are in your core. So if your tummy can keep your back in this lovely position without arching the lumbar spine or tilting the pelvis over the ball, then you can go a little bit lower and in and low and in. The higher you are with that extended leg, the easier it will be on your abdominals. So find your particular sweet spot for you. And then we can add on. So we're not pausing in between. Exhaling as you extend that leg. Bring the legs back in. We're going to add on one more. But at each level, you can maintain the level, the previous level that I did. Just work within whatever you're comfortable with at this stage. From here, I'm going to lift the head and shoulders off the floor, rotating the shoulders back and down and sending the ribs down into the mat. Just supporting my neck with my hands. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to repeat the single leg stretch. And just keep going. And making sure you're not losing your lovely spine position there. Fabulous. Then you can bring your knees over your chest, hug your knees just to finish off and just relax your tummy muscles. And then we're going to move on. Take the ball out from underneath and then take hold of your band or your belt or your tights, whatever you're using. Place it underneath your sole of your foot and bring that band back down to your chest. And we're going into a hamstring stretch here. Have those shoulders back and down to the floor and bring the backs of your arms onto the floor. Just pop the ribs back into the ribcage and just feel that lovely hamstring stretch. It's quite common that hamstrings can be a cause on lower back issues. If you've got tight hamstrings, it will pull the pelvis out of alignment, affect your posture, and can give you a really bad back. So your glutes, your hamstrings, and your quads can all do this, along with a few others as well, and your psoas at the front of your hips. And then we can add on to this stretch by peeling the toes down towards the face, sending the heel up to the ceiling. That's just intensifying that stretch a little bit. Fabulous. And then bend that knee, and we can bring the other leg up, change legs in the air. If you have a lower back there, you might want to bring that leg all the way down and change legs. And then extend the leg up, the foot up, just as high as you can manage it. If that's there, but the leg is straight, that's fine. What I would like to see is that pelvis staying on the floor, hips in alignment. It's just the back of the leg that's being stretched. All down the leg, actually, feeling that in the calf as well. Sending the heel to the ceiling and peeling those toes back down towards your face. Lovely. And then we can take the band off and we're going to come into our glute stretch now. So inhale, exhale, and pull the tummy muscles in, really engaging here. Leg up to the ceiling and drop it over your other leg. Just allow that knee out to the side. Using your abdominals, lift the underneath leg off the floor and reach through so you take hold of the back of your thighs. Rotate your shoulders back and down to the floor. And here we're just getting a lovely stretch into that glute and the piriformis area around here. So under here and right along here, feeling that stretch. And the more you can bring that underneath leg towards you, the more you're going to feel. And then changing sides. Pop the other leg on top, drop the knee out to the side. What we want to make sure is that we don't jerk to reach through to the back of the thigh. So engage the tummy muscles, pulling them in, sending the ribs down. Inhale, exhale, lift the underneath leg off, reaching through, and then start to work to bring your shoulders back down to the mat, your ribs back in. And then the more you bring that underneath leg towards you, the more of a stretch on that glute you should feel. And lowering that leg. Fabulous. From here, going into bridge, have your feet flat, hip distance apart, your arms by your side, and your palms to the ceiling. Inhale. As you exhale, we're going to pull the pelvis towards your chin. So just tilting the pelvis, Keep going as you peel up the spine, one vertebrae at a time, lifting the hips, pushing your feet into the ground, and coming up onto your mid-shoulder blades, just relaxing in that neck, but squeezing the glutes here, and squeezing, pulling the abdominals nice and flat. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to come down one vertebra at a time. Send your ribs together first, the bra strap area, the back of the spine hitting the floor, but leaving the hips up as long as possible, coming down vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down. Peeling down. Pelvis is the last thing to come down, and then we relax. We're going to do that again, but we're going to plank the spine this time, so like a drawbridge effect with that spine. Inhale. As you exhale, pushing directly up into the ground with the feet, checking where your weight is on those feet. Just make sure you're not rolled down the outside of your feet. Squeezing the glutes. Abdominals are strong. We're going to inhale. Lift the arms to the ceiling. Exhale and lower them behind. Inhale. Exhale, lower the tailbone down to the floor. Keep the ribs tucked inside the rib cage. Don't allow them to ping out. Leaving the arms where they are. We're going to go back and get the arms. Inhale, exhale, and planking up into bridge. Relaxing in the neck. Inhale, exhale as you lower, and then lower the tailbone down to the floor. Fabulous. Now come onto your side. We're coming up to a kneeling position now. Support yourself as you get up, especially if you have got a bit of an iffy lower back. And then we're coming into a kneeling position here. Shoulders are back and down. Bring your right leg forward. We can go to 90 degrees to start with. But if you're quite flexible in the front of the thighs, you can take that leg a little bit further away. From here, make sure your hips are in alignment, your tummy's in, your ribs in. And then we're going to take a gentle stretch forward onto that knee. Lovely. And then get that stretch in the front of that quad and the front of that hip. Whilst you're here, now we're going to pull the tailbone underneath. That you'll feel that intensify, that stretch in that thigh and the front of that hip. Lovely stretch. Again, the psoas being one of the many culprits in giving you lower back issues. Coming off that leg, changing sides. Take that leg to an area, to a point that is comfortable for you. Pulling in the abdominals and the ribs, shoulders back and down. And then taking a gentle lean forward. And tucking that tail underneath. Keeping nice and upright in the body and feeling that delicious stretch in the front of that thigh and the front of that hip. And then coming back of that hip. Fabulous. From here, we're going into our quad stretch. So coming onto your front, have your forehand on the back of your hand. And then reaching round to take hold of your foot. And then pulling your tummy away from the floor. Bring your tailbone through to the floor. It's a little bit like that last one, except it's more of a focus on the quads, the front of the thighs themselves. Bringing that tailbone through to the mat. So the pubic bone is coming towards the mat, pushing into the mat. And then gently push into the hand with the top of the foot, but resist that foot with your hand. So you've got a gentle resistance going on between the hand and the top of the foot. That then just gets more of a connection with the front of your hip into the mat. Takes that stretch a little bit higher to that hip. Change sides. As your forehead comes onto the back of your hand, pulling your abdominals away from the floor, and your tailbone down, scooping it under, and then gently pushing the top of the foot into the hand and resisting that foot at the same time, so you get that gentle resistance back, and you get that stretch moving up into that hip, and then lowering back down. Fabulous. from here, we're going to come into our triceps press. Bring your fingertips level with your shoulders here and your elbows into your sides. From here, you're going to rotate your shoulders back and down, so your lats coming down towards your pelvis and pulling the belly button away from the floor. Now squeeze the glutes and squeeze the legs, so the legs are actively engaged, pointing the feet. Inhale. As you exhale, you're going to gently push on the hands, gentle push, trying to get your elbows down towards the floor. So you're using your abdominals here to stop this going into your lumbar spine. Keep your neck nice and long in line with your spine. Inhale at the top and exhale as you lower. We're going to repeat that again. Inhale, exhale, pulling the abdominals in as you rotate the shoulders back and down and coming up into your triceps press. Now make sure your glutes are squeezed, your feet are pointed, your tummy's pulled in, because now we're going to take the hands off the floor, keeping the hands and fingers nice and spread. We're going to still reach for the mat with those elbows. So we're going into the backs of those arms and feeling this into the upper back as well. Inhale here, exhale, and lower. Just come up into your child's pose for a second. Have a little relaxed back and a little stretch. Stretching the hands away from you here, really elongating the spine. Lovely. And then coming to your 4-point kneeling. Final one. So have your tummy pulled in, so you're not arching in that lumbar spine. Just lift the lower ribs up into the rib cage and rotate the shoulders back and down, so you're lovely and wide in that collarbone area. Tuck your toes underneath. We're going to come up into cat hover, keeping your abs on strong and your hips level. Inhale, exhale, and just gently lift your knees off the floor. Keeping your back nice and flat, so you're not lifting very high. And we're going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Come back into your cat stretch. Have a little elongation of that spine. Shrug the shoulders up and then back down. And come back into your 4-point kneeling. Tuck your toes underneath. Inhale, tummy in, ribs up. Inhale, exhale, and lift. Not too high. Flatten that back. Pushing into that mat the whole time. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. And relax the feet. Come into your child's pose. For this particular set of exercises, you can have your forearms here in your prayer stretch. That will support your lumbar spine to stop overloading your spine. But if you're feeling like you just need that additional stretch and your spine is up to it, you can bring your arms down by your sides and just enjoy a full child's pose or shell pose, you might have heard this called. Couple of inhale and exhales, and then as we come up, we're going to engage the abdominal muscles first. So pulling in the abs, rolling pin over the abs, coming up nice and naturally, just using the abdominals to come up, everything else relaxed. And then restack your spine, one vertebrae at a time, the back of your neck in line with your spine, your head the last thing to come up. Lovely. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you would like to see more exercises and more about me, please just check out my Facebook page, Rock Pilates UK, and my YouTube and my Instagram.